All right, greetings guys from the Blue Ridge Parkway. This is a first for this channel. I've always been a car guy and wanted to make a lot more content. Today, in this video, you're gonna be seeing the Spyder RS. And we're starting from the very top of the Blue Ridge Parkway. I've always wanted to do the entire route. Unfortunately, I won't be able to in this video because parts of it were washed out from the hurricane. But we'll be getting on and off and seeing different parts of it and trying to tie in back of the Dragon and tail of the Dragon and a few other really cool roads. I'm doing this from the perspective of an owner. I know a lot of people make YouTube videos and they're like, you know, here's a Spyder RS and here's the pros and cons. I'll be telling you about the pros and cons of this vehicle in this particular video. It'll be a little bit longer because it'll be like a vlog style, me kind of like ripping the roads a little bit stuff. I've been doing rallies for years now. I've probably put over 30,000 kilometers on different cars and rallies like my McLaren, my R8. But this Spyder RS is particularly interesting to me and it's a lot of fun, if I can put it that way. So we're right at the very top of the Blue Ridge. We're in Virginia, which isn't the best state for driving fast. They don't have the friendliest speeding laws, if I can put it that way. They kind of hate fast driving. Maybe I'll tell you guys a story some other time, but here's a quick look at the car. This is 2024 Spyder RS. So this is a 2024 model. It's pretty much fully loaded with the exception of the magnesium wheels. It's got the YSAC package. The interior is a little bit of a mess because we've got seat covers on so we don't sweat in them. But fully loaded, ready to go. We're gonna rip the road. Yeah, tops down. Let's have some fun. All right, so first thing I gotta do when you drive this thing with the top down, because it's a loud car. I've got the exhaust valves open right now, and listen to this. So just over my shoulder is your intakes for the engine. I'm gonna be running this with earplugs, so I don't do any hearing damage. Forgot to mention, this is a continuous road. 461 miles, I believe, is the full distance. Speed limit's 45 miles an hour, which you should be doing if you're a good boy. And there's no stoplights or anything. It's just all road. It's amazing. So we're at one of the first overlooks, elevation 3,115 feet. You can see Rock Point Overlook, and this is the view. Car's performing great. I did forget to bring a deer whistle, and we've already seen deer in the first 10 miles, so I'm trying to be a little bit more conservative in driving style today. Car's performing great, tires are warm, sounds amazing, just having a great time. Like, this thing is just unbelievable. It's probably one of the best driver's cars out there. It does come with flaws. Again, as we sort of get through it, I'll explain what they are in this video and why they're there. They're kind of a consequence of the branding when it comes to Porsche and the RS cars, which I'll explain in a little bit. So the cool thing about the Blue Ridge is just letting the car cool off a little bit. You get these mile markers around the whole parkway, and you can go online and you can look up like certain scenic attractions like lookouts and waterfalls and stuff like that. So car's performing great. Unfortunately, my passenger little nauseous, and she's taking a break, but I figured just let it cool off, have a little stroll, enjoy some of the scenery and the forestry around. Check it all out. Beautiful place. Definitely find your way if you're a car enthusiast, you like fast cars. Find your way to Blue Ridge Parkway. It's definitely worth the drive. I've done it maybe 4 or 5 times now. This is the first time that I'm trying to drive top to bottom, which, as I mentioned earlier, isn't going to happen because of the washouts from the hurricane. But oh, check it out. The front end of the car's got, it's a bug murdering zone. All right, well, take a few of those out, but talk to you in a bit. So I've driven a McLaren 720, an R8, and a Porsche Turbo S tuned to almost 800 horsepower on the Blue Ridge Parkway. And this car is by far my favorite. It could possibly be the best driver's car in the world. All right, and a quick video because I reset the G-force marker on the Porsche, and I wanted to see what I'm getting sort of driving in these mountain roads. And I'm getting 130 left, 1.40 right. Maximum acceleration is 1.01. Maximum deceleration is 1.20. Check it out.
Amazing. The most amazing 5 minutes I've
crazy, eh?
Absolutely. I drive fast a lot. And I've driven other cars. Thank you, brother.
But
good. Thanks for that.
What?
70, how old?
75.
75.
Good for you.
Dentist.
Yeah.
Good for
So
you.
Mustang
Nice
to
meet you.
Porsche. All right, just at a quick stop before we get back on the Blue Ridge. Just wanted to give you a interior view because this is also a car review, and this is peak sports car. It's not the prettiest, the most buttony sort of interior, if you know what I mean, but it is the simplest, cleanest layout that I've ever seen in a sports car. They've been doing it this way on the 718 since I think 2016. This entire interior does look dated because it's a 2024 model, but just check it out. I mean, what do you need? Big tack, speedo. You got your speed at the bottom. You have a multi-use gauge off to the right over here. The center gauge over here is working with Waze right now for me. So if you can just see kind of up over here, those dots mean the Blue Ridge Parkway is closed. So hopefully if I can come down this way, I should be able to merge back on and get on it. You got your buttons over here for your main stuff, PDK Sport, harder suspension, your traction stuff, which I always leave on, exhaust, and that's it. Cool shifter. Looks like a manual shifter. You can run it manual mode if you want, with either paddles, or you can shift with this thing forward and back. And your MMI, it's pretty straightforward. Like, you really don't need anything else. It's just dialed in. It's amazing. All right, well, we've arrived at our cabin for the evening. The car's performed very well. Very pleased with it. I mean, let's just take a quick look at it. It's obviously filthy, and yeah, we're going at a pretty good clip today. You can see there's a lot of dust and stuff that accumulates in the wheels, but nothing a quick coin car wash won't fix. She's looking, I mean, even dirty, they look pretty. It's just a good looking car. They obviously look better without the top, and there's 3 modes for the top. You can have, this is watertight for rain. You can take this back section out here with the back window, so it's just this kind of like bikini top. And you can have obviously no top. It's fully manual. All right guys, good morning. Welcome to a little bit of a walk around into detail on the Spyder RS. We stayed at Fancy Gap last night. Here's our view of the valley in Virginia. Let's go around to the front of the car, and we'll take a couple minutes. And I'll tell you a little bit about the cons of this thing since I've had it for about 10,000 kilometers. I've had a lot of seat time and a lot of opportunity to sort of get an idea of what this thing's all about. All right, so let me start front to back. I'll sort of walk you through the storage. If you're wondering what this is in my hand, it's a bear banger because there's bears in the area, so can't carry a pistol because I'm Canadian in the States. But let's start at the front here. You do have a good amount of storage space. You have 2 storage containers in this car, front and back. This is sound deadening material that I've had to put together because one of the downfalls to this vehicle is it's quite loud. And I'll show you later when I install these behind the seats what they look like. But huge storage compartment in the front. Sort of closing the lid. You got all these NACA ducts and vents and everything like that. Really just a whole bunch of aero on the front of the car, carbon fiber everywhere. One of the downsides to the car is the seating, if I can be honest. The seating isn't the most comfortable because we're on carbon bucket seats. And I did fix it though. I did manage to find a solution. So for those of you that own this car or are looking to buy one, I'd strongly recommend going to P1 Designs and ordering a set of inserts from the couple that runs that company. I got the houndstooth print. They've got a whole bunch of Porsche classic prints that you can get. And if you can come in close, babe, check this out. You've got a lumbar support for your lower back, which doesn't come standard in Porsches when you get the carbon bucket seats. So you get a nice little bit of a lumbar pump in the back. I put t-shirts over the seat, so it looks a little bit nasty right now, just to sort of, you know, deal with the road trip sweat and stuff like that. But it's about twice as thick. The padding is twice as thick. It's a memory foam. It looks like it's from the factory. The only downside to it, I guess, is you sit a little bit higher in the car than you do on the factory carbon buckets. Maybe half an inch to an inch. Not much. It's not the end of the world, but I would say it's worth it considering the discomfort level. That's really the only downside to this car so far, is just the carbon buckets and the comfort. Moving up to the top over here, we've got these manual top, you know, if I can call it, which does have some downsides. So I'll show you one right now. So I can't pop the trunk. It doesn't do anything if you press the pop trunk button until you release these things and sort of flop them up. So if you want to put any storage in the trunk, you're getting groceries, you want to put anything back here because you're traveling, I literally have to do that every single time. And then it'll open. It should. There we go. There's no latch on the back, you just lift it and all the water goes in the storage area where your top goes. But just show them the trunk area here. There's quite a bit of space. That's just a bin that I have with all my cleaning supplies, so when I take it to the car wash, because it is a bit filthy. This is where the back window goes, and the top goes in this area over here. And it's a bit of a production to put all down. I'm not going to do it right now because the car's soaking wet. But that gives you an idea of the storage space, which is huge, because in a 911, I've got a Turbo S, 992 generation. There's really no more storage space than the front and the back seats. That's literally the negative to this car. If you're looking for more negatives, I mean, I've driven it for 10,000 kilometers. I can't find anything. The brakes squeal a little bit because they're motorsport brakes, but who cares? Like, you know, it's part of the package. Could they put in 911 turbo brakes? Probably. They don't squeal. My 911 turbo brakes don't squeal, but that just comes with the car. They're the motorsport brakes. They're the ones that probably come off the GT3. It's got the GT3 motor stuck right here in the middle. This is noisy. You know, I will admit that the top design is noisy. One other thing I will say is you will get a warning on the dashboard when you exceed 200 kilometers an hour, because the top's not rated for more than 200 kilometers an hour, because it's basically a t-shirt. Okay, it's not insulated. It's certainly not sound insulated. They could have put sound insulation on this window back part over here that comes out, but they didn't. Of course, it's you know, it's a Spyder RS. It's supposed to be lightweight. It's a track focus, so you can't really complain about it. So it is noisy. It does kind of cause an issue. Like if you're passing and there's 4, 5, 6 cars in a row that you're passing at the same time, you're probably going to get up to 200 kilometers an hour. So you're going to get a warning. The computer data logs the warning. So if you ever go into the dealer and be like, oh look, my top's all stretched out, it doesn't fit properly anymore, can I get a new top? Something's wrong with it. You're going to check the computer, the data logs will show how many times you exceeded 200 kilometers an hour, and they'll probably void that part of the warranty. You won't get a new top. So that's another downside. But aside from that, guys, phenomenal car. Like, this car is an amazing road trip car. It's fast, it's reasonably comfortable. It has softer springs than the GT4 RS, which is essentially the same car. This is a 718 Boxster versus the 718 Cayman. Identical cars, the only difference is below the belt line, so my waist area down, it's the exact same car as the GT4 with the exception of the springs being about 50% softer. So it's a better road car. If you want a GT3 Porsche that comes with track heritage, this is it, but it's built for the road. You can take the top off, enjoy all the sounds, have a lot more softer, or reasonably more softer compliant ride. Downsides are, again, top's kind of a pain in the ass. It is loud inside the car, and you have to wear earplugs, you know, if you don't want hearing damage. I think we documented 110 120 decibels when we downloaded a decibel app. It's rock concert loud in some cases, in certain conditions when you're really ripping it through the gears, but such is life and part of the fun. We're gonna head on the road down. We're heading down the mountain. We're actually on the top of the mountain right now. And we're gonna go to Little Switzerland, North Carolina. So we'll catch up with you guys there. So I had an idea. We've got the Baja 1000, we got the Isle of Man TT. Why don't we have the Blue Ridge 469, or whatever the full distance is from end to end? That would be a race. That would be something to really check out. There's no stoplights. It's just an open road for over 450 miles. It's the perfect environment to showcase motorsports. I do think, however, that some of the people out there would strongly oppose that, because that's just how they are. But, all right, so here's a quick rundown of the rally setup that you guys want to look at. So, of course, running Waze here. Up here, I'm running another app called Highway Radar, which is critical if you drive a convertible because it shows you weather. I don't know if you can point the camera to the screen over there, but it shows you weather conditions coming up. If there's precipitation, it also shows you if there's aircraft that are police operated. And sometimes you get better data off Highway Radar than you do off Waze, even though this pulls data from Waze, and of course your radar detector. And that's all you need really for a rally setup. If you're rolling with a bunch of other people, you definitely want to get yourself a bunch of radios too. Back on the Blue Ridge, we had to detour to get on it. I don't know, hour maybe or so of not Blue Ridge driving, but we're back on. Lots of fog and rain, and we're up in the clouds, you know, as you can see. So really not moving at much of a pace, but the view is incredible, as you can see, right? So just when you think you've seen everything, you run into a Jeep with plywood for a back window. All right, so that was the 226A, which in my opinion is one of the best roads in the world. Not the greatest conditions today. The obviously wet surfaces and debris and runoff and stone and gravel and stuff, but car did a great job. I always have to have a post 226A cigarette. I don't smoke, but it's like having, I guess, smoke after sex. But the car performs wonderfully. I mean, it is a marvel of engineering, guys. I'm telling you, if you have the means, I highly recommend picking one up. These things are just incredible. I'm just letting it cool down now, as you do when you drive them hard, but no trouble at all. The car can take it. So I'm just at the Little Switzerland Cafe, which is just at the top of the hill. And they got some pretty good treats and food and everything like that. So I'm gonna head in there in a minute. All right, good morning from Little Switzerland. We had a lot of fog and rain yesterday, so there was really not a lot to film. I did do the 226A, as I mentioned. Heading out to Asheville, then Tail of the Dragon, then the Cherahoola Skyway. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. But just heading down this little twisty road that gets us onto the interstate, I believe, because about, I don't know, 200 miles of the Blue Ridge Parkway is closed down from the hurricane damage. Like, parts of it have just been washed away, like they don't even exist anymore. So apparently there's going to be a few years of work to repair it. But yeah, and I also want to tell you the story about the GT3 that brought me to the Spyder RS. I was thinking about this the other day because I did test drive a 911 Touring GT3 in a manual. I was at my dealer and I was like, I was looking for a car, and he pointed to the GT3 Touring. He's like, well, if you like rallies, I think you might like this car. I go, well, let's take it out for a drive. And I didn't really like it. I found it underpowered, overpriced, and it had a really just too mechanical, loose kind of sound to it. Now, that all changed about a year later when a buddy of mine got the 992 GT3, and then about a year and a half after that, he got a GT3 RS. And we did a ton of rallies together, maybe 3 or 4, something like that. And I just remember following him. I think it was in my McLaren for a bit, and then I switched over to the Turbo S. I remember following him and just hearing this thing, and it sounded phenomenal. And it just went, like it went. Even though when I drove it, I didn't really love it, I noticed the way he was driving it, it just went. And and he had no trouble keeping up with me, and I had just as much trouble keeping up with him. So it was a fast car. So when I heard that they were going to put the GT3 motor in the Boxster, the 718, I was like, a convertible drop top GT3 powered Porsche sports car that did what my friend's car did in a mid-engine layout. I'm like, I'm about that. Let's get one of those. So here we are today, and this is why we're on this road trip, experiencing some of these best roads in the world. But well, we had to take another detour because there was another closure, which isn't too bad because a lot of the detours send you up places like this. It's a good place to warm up the tires before you get back on the Blue Ridge, because as they said in Days of Thunder, it's tires that win races, Cole. What a car. Surface is still a little dodgy and wet, and some debris in some areas. And we have traffic. Tunnel. Slippery tunnel. Another tunnel. All right, so the lady at the last roadblock told us to come to this school and then go up this highway to get on the Blue Ridge, but there was another closed section after that. So we're running out of time today. It's almost 11 o'clock, and I wanted to do the Tail of the Dragon and Cherahoola, whatever it's called. So let's see if how much time we have here, man. This is like a little bit of a pain in the ass, to be honest with you. These detours. These detours are not fun. Rich isn't happy. Alright, so I mentioned earlier that one of the downsides to the Spyder RS is the brakes are quite squeaky. And they've been squeaking, you know, I just want to kind of show you how much they squeak. It doesn't bother me that much, it's not that big of a deal, but just in case you're looking to buy one of these and you're one of those sort of guys that are like, oh, it's got to be perfect brakes, so just listen to this. And of course it doesn't squeak. Oh, there you go. I hope the mic picked that up, but it's pretty loud. Alright guys, I'm stuck in traffic right now. We're heading to Tail of the Dragon. I figure I'd make a quick little update to this vloggity vlog sort of thing, because one of the downsides that I noticed of this car, which I haven't been able to share with you in this road trip, I noticed when I was going to Tremblant in Quebec, was during heavy rain, what ends up happening is there's a big vent in the front of the car by the hood. You probably saw it when I did the walk around. And that collects water, or water as you stop runs over that vent. And the most unusual thing happens. You get a wall of basically steam. I guess there's a heat exchanger up front there where that vent sort of vents hot air up. And as the water drops down onto it, it basically turns into like a steam wall, and you just can't see anything. So again, not a perfect car. It comes with some flaws, and that's just one of them that I noticed. But the steam wall just sucks. I don't know if I'll be able to show it to you on this trip because there's no heavy rain where it drips down on a stop, but I thought I'd mention it before I forgot, because I was sitting there thinking about some other stuff while I was stopped waiting for my turn to pass. All right, here we go. Tail of the Dragon. guys, we're at the southernmost point of the Blue Ridge Parkway in Cherokee, and we're about to hop on the parkway once again. So we managed to drive it end to end, but not continuously with all the detours and road closures, but here we go. About to hop on the parkway again from Cherokee. All right, well, we're at altitude now. The highest elevation on the Blue Ridge Parkway motor road is 6,053 feet. Boom, baby. Check this beauty out. Just randomly ran into it coming down one of the side roads getting off the mountain. All right, good morning. Second last day of the road trip. We're heading to back of the Dragon, which is a fantastic road up in Virginia. I was talking earlier about the soundproofing or quiet mode in the car. So this is basically podcast foam, and I just kind of stick it behind the carbon bucket and then around the window. And we got, I don't know, 200 kilometers of highway driving today. So rather than mess with earplugs or anything else, if I want to listen to some music and sort of like do the drive more comfortably, that's quiet mode. And it's not that quiet, it's still pretty loud, but it's a lot quieter, if I can put it that way. So that's just another drawback of the Spyder RS, but everything comes with compromises. All right, so last part of this road trip with twisty roads is going to be the back of the Dragon. You can see right there, that's kind of like the gift shop, the coffee shop, the shop of shops, I guess. So I'll grab a memento after I've run it. Apparently it's 32 miles, like hundreds of turns. Should be a blast. Gonna leave the top up for this one because it looks like it might rain, but I popped out the bottom window just so we can get some sound. And I'm gonna have to record it again with my cell phone, just put it on the camera mount, and you'll be able to check that out in a second to see what that's all about. on the road now. cool it off a little bit because we're doing Alright, so we're at the top of back of the Dragon. It's a nice little road, Highway 16 I think it's called. Goes to Marion. A little bit of a map of the road from Tazewell all the way up to the top of the mountain, which is I think where we're at right here. But nice little overlook, check this out. It's one of the best roads you can get on the East Coast. Got a beautiful view. The entire valley there below. It's a little overcast and cloudy, but she's pretty, and so is the car. Yeah, she did a good job. Well, I just finished running back of the Dragon back down to the bottom to the gift shop, and I checked my max G-force rating on the car, and I'm getting 133 on braking, 101 on acceleration, 1.40 right, and 157 left. That's actually more than my Turbo S, which is incredible. Check it out. Anyway, I can't recommend this car enough. I drove back of the Dragon in my McLaren 720, and if I'm being honest, I think this car is probably more fun. I can't believe I just said that, but it's true.